Aisha Hall. My reg number in the feds was 43336-039. I was in Brooklyn, MDC, and I was also in Alderson Federal Prison in West Virginia. So here I am sitting in the feds, you know, thinking that I'm just going to be here and finish out my time. And I filed an appeal asking for the judge to look at my case over again so that maybe, you know, I might be able to get out a little early. So when I file this appeal and I'm waiting for a response, I get one. It's mail call, all the ladies standing around. Officer yells out, mail call. You know, that's the test. Are you reporting to anybody? If they don't call your name, you know, it's like nobody cares. So everybody goes up to mail call hoping to get something, a card, a picture, a letter. So I get something and I notice that it's not in an envelope. It's just a folded piece of paper with a staple in it. I open it up and it says, Aisha Hall, report to R&D immediately after the 4 o'clock count.
You know, what's R&D for those that
R&D is receiving and delivering.
Okay.
So when it's where they get the mail, it's where inmates get received in or they get discharged or whatever. So I'm like, R&D, maybe I have a package or something. And when I look further down at the bottom of the paper, it says, make sure that you packed all your belongings and put them in a box and bring them with you. So I'm like, oh, everybody's like, yo, Ish, you know, you're about to get some play on your motion. You're gonna get released. You know, the judge must have found favor with what you asked. And I'm all excited. And when I get down there and I pack out, the worst part about that is when you're in transit, you have to be shackled, your ankles, your waist, you know, your arms, you put the box on. It's handcuffs with a box in the middle so you can't move. It's not like the regular chain in the middle. You're stuck, you know, and as a woman, you know, it's like, it's difficult if you have to use the bathroom, you know, you can't really move. So that's the only thing I hated about transit, but I was happy because I thought, you know, I might be getting ready to go home. And this is my fourth year in. Get on the plane, what they call Con Air, you know, it's duct tape on the wing. Every time you get on that plane, it's like you don't know if it's gonna be a bad ending. The marshals have parachutes. We're handcuffed, you know, and chained up. So if something happens, it's a wrap, you know. So I get on the plane and I whisper to one of the marshals, you know, can you do me a favor and tell me where I'm going? Because the way you know where you are when you land is that when the plane is on the runway, you try to catch a glance at the license plates on the cars to see what state you're in, because they act like you're less than human. You don't even have a right to know where you are. And as they're dropping off and delivering inmates to different states, you just wonder if you're gonna be getting off on that stop, you know, and then you take off again. This goes on all day long. So we stop a few times and I'm like, you know, we stopped in New York and I didn't get off. Where am I going? They tell me, oh, you're going to Texas. I said, Texas? Oh, y'all must have made a mistake. I felt the tears get ready to come because I'm like, do I have another charge? What's going on? Why am I going to Texas? And when I'm getting ready to get off the plane, when we land in Texas, they call my name, Hall. I stand up. Do not look at the men. You're not allowed to look. You have to look straight at the marshals. You know, they have these big, you know, AKs or whatever it is that they have, probably MS, whatever it is. And, you know, you have to look straight or you could get in a lot of trouble. You could get sprayed, you could get whatever. And nobody wants to look at that.
Don't look at the men. What do you mean? Other inmates or just the...
Other inmates.
Okay.
You cannot look. You have to look straight. And if the men look at you the wrong way, they get the box if they didn't have it already, or they get the mask, or like they could get tasered. It's a lot of things that can happen. They're very strict. You know, we're not human beings anymore. We got to remember that. So I get off the plane and I'm now being transported onto a van. I'm in Texas. The guards are all Hispanic. They don't even really speak English, and I'm trying to find out where I'm going. And then I hear them call another name, Asbel, which is one of my co-defendants. So I'm like, hold on, this can't be. And it's my co-defendant. And I'm like, wow, like what's going on? We get on this little van and we find out we're going to some holding facility and we don't know why. Get there and find out they want us to snitch on somebody. They call you out in the feds when they want you to tell on somebody. You don't know where you're going, you don't know why, but when you get there, you basically gotta just sit tight. If you're not trying to work with them, you just gotta keep your mouth shut. That's just the rules. But you can get called out, anybody can get called out on a writ, and which is when the court calls you or the prosecutors call you because they want to question you. So that's what it was for, but we didn't know. So I get there, and after a couple of days, you know, in the worst slums in the world, I'm sitting there like, you know, what am I here for? The other girls is asking me, yo, up north, that's what they started calling me. What are you here for? And I'm like, I don't know. But I didn't like saying that too much because that sounds suspicious. I'm not a rat, I don't tell on people, none of that. But when you walk into a jail with people who have been there and you say you don't know why you're there, it can look a little funny. So now I'm getting frustrated because I really don't know why I'm there at that time. Then I find out that a client of mine that had paid me a couple $1 million had been arrested. And they were trying to get people to flip on this woman. So when I get called out, finally the feds, it's the Secret Service, I'm sitting in the room and they're like, anything you want to tell us about this, Miss Hall? So I'm saying nothing. They open up a letter, and it's a letter that I wrote to this woman that said, yo, they arrested me. I know you got a couple mil, hide your shit because they're coming for it. She sent them the letter trying to get herself out of trouble. So now it looked like I was committing another crime, which, you know, is obstruction of justice. They're after her, and I'm giving her, you know, a warning in advance, and now they have proof of it. So I'm like, oh, word, y'all was, the jail was copying my mail, huh? And they said, no, we got it from her directly. I said, wow. So this was a tactic. They wanted me to flip on her. So they're basically showing me, she flipped on you, so now she's under this situation and we need your help. But when you have the integrity I have, it doesn't matter what they would have said. I would never support the system of I got in trouble, so now I'm gonna make the next person get in trouble. I held it down, you know? But what I found out later was they were willing to have me lie to make this woman get in more trouble. And that's when I knew that when I heard about those stories, that it's not bullshit. We know this, you did this with her, right? You did, right? Because you know if you did and you tell us, we can work it out so that you get out early. And I'm saying to myself, no, I didn't do these things. And they're trying to let me know that if I do say it, then I can get out of prison early. And that's when I realized this is how sick the system is. They play recordings of my phone conversations that I never heard before, of her saying negative things about me, hoping that that would inspire me to tell. And I still had nothing to say. But I can see how people can fall into that trap because they play these sick games with your life and your freedom. So when I refused to talk, they said, okay, we'll send you back to prison when we get ready to. So now I'm stuck in this county jail after I'd already been in prison. And prison is a little better than a county jail because you're a little bit more established in there. You have access to more commissary. The food is a little better, etc. So now, as a punishment for me not telling, I'm stuck in transit. And when I get back to the prison, there's a fight, and there's a lot of homosexuality in the prison. There's a lot of girls that are gay for the stay, and there's a lot of girlfriend wars. And I walk into a situation where I see two girls fighting, and a girl swings and had a razor in between her fingers and slices off one of the girl's ears. So I walk into blood spraying everywhere and just mayhem, you know, and it was the craziest experience of my life. And I could have easily gotten killed in that place because there were girls who were getting sliced up, there were girls who were putting stuff in people's food, people throw boiled
stuff
water.
Like what?
They take pills, you know, crush them and drop them in people's stuff, like just crazy stuff. I'd never seen anything like I seen at this place. Boiling honey, you know, throwing it on people. I mean, just sick stuff, you know, and it's like, wow, I'm subjected to this environment because you want me to do something for you that I'm not willing to do. So the system is just all based on what they want to keep that system going and not what's best for you as a person. I'm already doing my time. I already pled guilty. I've already been sentenced to 10.5 years. Let me do my time in peace. But you want to bring me out and put me in environments that A, doesn't look good for me as a solid person. You know, B, you're trying to force me to lie. C, you put me in an environment with people who are A, mentally ill in a lot of cases, people who have been confined to these very, very small places for a long time, losing their minds, you know, so the whole system is just crazy. And that was probably one of the most traumatic experiences because I saw so many people get hurt and injured and I didn't see any help. Like no guards come in to rush, you know, they came, they took their time. This girl is bleeding out and it's taking forever for the, you know, guards to come and take care of the situation. You know, we had to we took the water out of the toilet because it was so cold in there. We took the water out of the toilet and filled it with ripped up pages from a book and used the microwave to set a fire, and stood over the toilet like we was under the Verrazano or something trying to get warm. That was the only way to get heat. Like, it was just a crazy, insane experience. And I say all that to say that, you know, I don't wish that on anybody. And a lot of the people that were there for non-violent crimes, and then they end up becoming violent being in the system. So it's just something you'll never ever forget.
Now, you said it's a lot of women gay for the stay.
Yeah.
What does that mean for those that?
Gay for the stay. Women are very, you know, funny creatures, very emotional, very clingy. There's a lot of codependency. And what happens in prison is women form these pairs. And sometimes it's sexual, sometimes not. More not than so. Where they just a bond, and a dominant female kind of takes on a male role. And the less dominant girl kind of uses that figure as like she's a man, almost forgetting that it's not really a man. It's just a substitute. And when the bid is over, they go for the real man. It's not like they've ever been with a woman in their life. It's not like they've ever been, you know, it happens a lot. It happens so much that it's like a phenomenon. Like, everybody had a girlfriend. Like, they can hit me on the gram at The Real Aisha Hall. That's AISHA Hall. They can email me at Aisha Hall, ppc@gmail.com. You can go on YouTube and, you know, look at any of my videos. You can contact me there. I'm very accessible. You know, I'm all over Facebook. I'm all over Twitter. You could Google me. You know, everything I say about myself is factual. You can look it up. You can hit me anyway. It's no excuse to not be able to get to Aisha Hall.